Hi, I'm Yanti. I'm from Udayana University in Bali, Indonesia. So today I will present my research on applying an integrated framework for improving sanitation's uptake and sustainability in rural Karangasem, Bali. So my presentation outline will be as follows. Then we'll be close with conclusions. Sanitation has considerable benefits to public health and the environment. Yet in developing countries, there's 2.4 billion people do not have access to sanitation facilities. So the issues are not only increasing access for the poor, but also to ensure adequate sanitation system. So the challenge lies in the complex nature of sanitation issues, which require a comprehensive multidisciplinary approach. However, current approaches tend to be based on the perspective of a single discipline. During the MDGs period, Indonesia has been progressing moderately in rural areas for increasing sanitation access, where local professionals need to deal with many issues, such as highly diverse cultural and socio-economic background in the community, which need for tailored intervention. So one size doesn't fit all. We also need to address not only the uptake of sanitation technology, but also to address sustainability. And how can we help local professionals in order to address these issues? Many studies in Indonesia are not comprehensive enough to cover both uptake and sustainability. So we need to understand that as well. So our study aimed to comprehensively examine the challenges and solutions for sanitation uptake and sustainability in rural Indonesia. And today I will be presenting the applications of an integrated framework that we propose in our study. So for our study, we start from the theoretical context of sustainable sanitation and sanitation value chain from the engineering perspective, while we also use another perspective from public health, which is using the ecological public health approach, which this both theoretical context can help to address the issues in Indonesia context, where we need to integrate sanitation service cycle to address sustainability. And we also need to comprehensively analyze not only the technological problems, but also the socio-cultural factors, environmental issues, and other surface aspects beyond the individual factors that usually being blamed as the problems. So based on our literature review, we choose the sanitation service stages as our first approach to identify issues and determinants in rural areas. So in these stages, we try to make 5 levels of stage from the acceptance of the technology or sanitation systems and the construction phase, the utilizations, maintenance, and safe disposal. Well, from the ecological public health approach, we choose the Ottawa Charter, which has been developed like 30 years ago, but I think it's still a relevance to the issues today. So this approach actually try to highlight that when we try to identify determinant, we shouldn't only blame at the individual level, but also look at the broader level, such as structural level, the environmental, the services, or the culture that has influenced the uptake and the practice in the community. So I combine these 2 approaches to understand the sanitation issue in rural areas. So we using a mixed methods study to understand these issues by exploring determinants from point of view of the experts and literatures and also exploring the felt and expressed needs from the community. So we have stakeholder interviews and document review. We have a qualitative study at 2 rural communities and also a quantitative survey with 200 respondents from 7 sub-villages in rural Karangasem. So with that two approaches I mentioned before, we combine them into a matrix. So for the columns, we use the ecological base, socio-ecological model based on the Ottawa Charter. So we have individual factors, socio-cultural factors, environment factors, structural factors, and service factors. That will be identified across the 5 sanitation service stages, starting from the acceptance, constructions, utilizations, maintenance, and safe disposal. So using this matrix or frameworks, we expect that we can provide more comprehensive assessments of wider factors, so beyond the individual factors, and also inside surface factors as a distinct aspect to infrastructure provisions, because usually providing infrastructures is quite easy, but then you need to address the surface, the continuous surface of the technology. From the field study findings, we start with determining the challenges from the perspective of expert and government officials. So structural, cultural, and service factors were found to influence sanitation uptake and sustainability aside from commonly known environmental and individual factors. So we identified it in quite a long list, such in this table. Various perspectives from the experts and also for government officials. We also identified some cultural challenges based on this interview. And next we do the identifying issues and determinants in a community level, which exploring the felt and expressed needs. So we try to identify the issues first. So what actually is the issues along the surface stages? So when we see at the acceptance level, there's issues of lack of community demand for toilets. So they not yet think that toilets is important. At the constructions stage, there's issues of a complexity of toilet consideration within local priorities, and so on. With others stages, there's other issues also exist. So based on this issue, we try to identify determinants for each issues. So for this, the example of this table is determinants for the construction stage only. So we have different table for different issues and then identify different determinants for each issues. Then the following steps is analyzing the determinants. So we combine and try to synthesize all the determinants we identify from different sources, from experts and from the community. Then we sum up that these are the common determinants we found in our study. At the structural levels, we have policy and regulations that influence the adoptions and also sustainability of sanitation, the institutional determinants such as the collaborations and cooperations between the institutions, village characteristic and governance, education system also have influence in there, where we never introduce about sanitation system in our curriculums. Environmental determinants such as natural environments, village infrastructure, and so on. We also identify cultural determinants, which is includes cultural values of purity or pollutions in community, which quite strong in rural communities, that influence how they adopt and weigh and how they sustain the sanitation's technology that has been adopted. There are also the values related to other such as individual individual determinants and also service determinants, such as access to information, and also the way we deliver sanitation program into community can affect this uptake and sustainability. So according to Ottawa, okay, just one more slide. Yeah, so each group of determinants can be addressed with different strategies according to the Ottawa Charter as listed in this box at the bottom level. So in conclusions, these interrelated determinants suggest that sanitation professionals should pay more attention to other factors and also collaborate with other sectors or professionals in order to address the issues. And in conclusion, we highly recommend to use this integrated framework in order to identify and need for collaborations. Thank you very much, Ms. Diana. Over to you.